Can your first home become a rental later? And is that actually a smart strategy? If you've ever thought to yourself, sure, I want to buy a home, but I just don't want to trap myself. I don't want to get stuck into something that just isn't working. Well, this episode is for you. Today, I'm going to break down the first home to rental strategy. It's basically all about how buying a primary residence today or soon with the idea in mind that you have a future plan to actually rent it out. That's a way to help you build wealth without overextending yourself and without guessing. I'm Vekevia, financial planner, real estate coach, and on the Real Life Planning podcast, we talk about how to make home ownership decisions that still make sense even years from now. Around here, I like to say that I'm your financially savvy friend, the one who's going to tell you the truth and hold your hand at the same time, especially in this situation, because buying your first home isn't just a transaction, it's a financial decision that essentially ripples into every other part of your life. And I see this all the time, like with clients and with listeners, and people do want to buy their first home, but they're just afraid of making the wrong decision. Like they're afraid of choosing the wrong house or getting the wrong type of loan or buying maybe even at the wrong time. And that's really something to be concerned about. And what they're really worried about is what if life changes and I'm stuck? The first home to rental strategy exists to solve that exact fear. So, what is a first home to rental strategy? Let's define it simply. The first home to rental strategy is when you buy your home as your primary residence, but you plan from day one that in a few years, as your life evolves, you may move out and then turn that home into a rent. You're not trying to flip. You're not trying to time the market and you're not becoming a landlord overnight. You're being strategic. You're using life progression as a part of your strategy. Now, why does this work for first time homebuyers? This approach works well, especially well for first time homebuyers for a few reasons. Number one is think financing. Primary residence loans usually come with lower down payments and better interest rates than investor loans. A second reason is that you're solving two problems essentially at once. Number one is you need somewhere to live and you want to get started building wealth. And then a third is this is a huge one, really. It gives you time to grow your income, time to understand what home ownership really costs, and time to learn how comfortable you are with risk. That's huge. The big misconception a lot of people say, but what if I don't know for sure that I want to rent it out later? And here's the planner answer. You don't need certainty, you just need options. This strategy isn't about locking yourself into a future decision. We don't want to do that. It's about buying in a way that preserves flexibility. So, what has to be true for this to work? When I walk clients through this strategy, we focus on four key questions. Number one is, can property realistically function as a rental? Because not every home should become a rental. We're thinking layout, we're thinking location, and we're thinking long term demand, not just how it feels today. The second key question is can your budget support the transition? So, what do I mean by this? This isn't just about qualifying for a mortgage. We're planning for things like maintenance, we're planning for vacancies, and we're planning for a future where you literally are not living in the property anymore. A third question is are you emotionally okay with holding instead of selling? Some people need the idea of selling for peace of mind, and that's okay. This strategy works best when you're comfortable with playing the long game. And number four, does this align with your life timeline? Does this make sense as far as your timeline? So there will be career changes, relationships, kids, and these things are not obstacles. They're often the reason this strategy works. A real life example. So I've worked with clients who bought a modest starter home. They lived in it for 3 to 5 years and then moved to the next phase of life. And now suddenly that old mortgage payment looked very different once rent started coming in. It wasn't perfect. There were repairs. There was a learning curve, of course, but it was intentional. And that intention made all the difference. I want to be really clear about what this strategy is not. It's not about stretching your budget to the max. It's certainly not about assuming that rents will always rise. And I definitely don't want to hear anyone thinking that they'll be able to skip emergency savings or ignoring risk. That's not what I'm saying. This is a planning first approach, not a hustle strategy. So, why does coaching even matter here? This is usually the moment when someone says, okay, but how do I know my numbers? Like, how do I know if this will work for my numbers? And that's the part you can't outsource to Google or AI. This decision sits in the intersection of your income, your lifestyle, your risk tolerance, and long term goals. That's exactly where coaching becomes valuable. If you're listening to this and thinking, I like this idea, but I want help pressure testing it before I make a move, that's exactly what our group coaching is designed for. You don't need to be ready to buy tomorrow. You just need to be ready to plan intentionally. This is real life planning where we turn real numbers into real possibilities. I'm your host, Vekevia, and remember that real wealth is built in real life by real people making real moves. I'll see you on the next episode.